And so everyone, the first season of WandaVision just finished this Friday on Disney Plus, and I was thankfully able to watch the entire series. I didn't start it immediately at the end because I was originally going to wait until all the episodes were out so I could watch all of it right away after it was all done. But eventually actually, I think it was around episode 5 was released that I began watching it, because some things were being spoiled for me, so I just decided to watch it all at that point, and I'm really happy I did because this series was really awesome. It's not perfect, and I do have some problems with it, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Enjoyed a lot of it. Also, they didn't have all the spoilers because I really want to talk about the whole show properly. The basic plot of the show is that we're shown that Wanda and Vision are now living in this sitcom-like world with so many weird things happening, and each episode takes place in different decades. The first starts off in the 1940s, and the next episode is in the 1950s, with the two of them living their lives at a couple, and everything feels like it's going on normally, but every once in a while some weird thing will happen, and that was part of the first half of the show I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the whole mystery aspect of the show, and it just made me more and more curious as to what was going on, because there's all these weird things that are happening. Plus, there's the fact that Wanda and Vision are in this world, and there's no explanation right away, so I was curious to know what was going on. Although the first part of the series was probably my least favorite part of the show because I didn't like the whole sitcom thing they were going for. I get what they were doing and it wasn't terrible, but I personally really didn't enjoy all that well. Maybe because I don't really like shows like that in general or something like that, but overall the whole actual show aspect about it, what the two of them were going in and the world that they were inhabiting was probably my least favorite part. But everything else was really good. What I loved the most about it was everything happening on the outside, because Sword is investigating what was happening because the town that Wanda and Vision were in, Westview, was surrounded by a huge hexagon of Wanda's powers, so they were all investigating it. Not only that, but we also get to see Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Darcy from the Thor movies, and Monica Rambeau from Captain Marvel. Yeah, and their scenes together were really cool and really interesting. And I like seeing the characters from the movies make and their appearance here and just interacting as well. I also thought it was cool and sad when we saw that Monica returned after the whole snap thing, and the fact that she realized that her mom was dead. That was really sad for me. And yeah, just everything with the three of them was, in my opinion, the most interesting part. And so yeah, the whole mystery aspect of the whole show was also a big thing that made me really interested, because there were all these weird things happening every once in a while, and it's kind of the opposite of what everyone else who watched the show liked. Everyone I've watched about the show said they liked all the sitcom stuff and thought all the stuff with Sword was kind of boring. I thought the opposite on it. But the mystery of what was happening made it really interesting from what to watch from start to finish, and that made me more and more and more curious. And I think what made the show better for me was what happened after episode 5, because we get to see more things happen, like Vision starts suspecting everything around him because he's noticing that something's going on. And of course, if you've seen the series, then you know what happened here. We get to see Evan Sheehurst as Quicksilver, our first MCU and X-Men crossover, and it was so awesome to see that. I love Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, and it was so cool to see him here. And it just got me super excited for what was coming up next, because it was at this point that I caught up with the show, and so I was really excited to see what was gonna happen next. And what does happen next was really cool, with Quicksilver having fun with Wanda's kids, who were also born in one episode, but then were grown kids in the next episode. But I think what I liked the most about this was at the end when we see Agatha, as in Wanda's neighbor, who sort of acts odd, and they didn't still trying to figure out what's happening, and at the end he goes outside the house, and towards the end of the episode 6 of the next episode, he goes outside the hexagon, and it's beginning to come apart with the members of Sword that kind of watching him, and then one of Wanda's kids sort of begins to sense it, and she then expands the hexagon to save him. Again, just all these different things that just kept making me more and more curious, and it just made me like wonder what would gonna happen next. And and just in general, it was just really cool to see all these different things happen. We also find out that Monica has gone inside the hexagon and is trying to speak to Wanda about all this. And we also see that when she goes inside the hexagon, and then when Wanda kind of tosses her in the air and she's about to fall, we kind of see that Monica may actually have some powers of her own. And Darcy also gets trapped in it, and then begins to tell Vision about what's happening and how she's been seeing everything that's been going on, because the sitcom can actually be seen by Sword on the outside. All this mystery and stuff, I know I said this a bunch already, but all this stuff just made me more curious to know how it was gonna end. And in my opinion, it all ended in a very cool, but also slightly disappointing ending. Most people apparently said they thought the ending to the series was a disappointment. I personally enjoyed it, especially the last 2 episodes. We basically see that Agatha is actually a witch who's been trying to manipulate Wanda and steal her powers, and a part of this is by showing her past. We get to see Agatha's past and Wanda's as well. And especially like seeing Wanda's past and seeing the different things shown that we were told about before, like in the previous MCU movies. Like we get to see her past as a kid with her family before they were killed, and then we see her when Hydra gave her powers and things like that. It was just really cool to see all of that. And it was nice seeing why Wanda made this world. It was due to her grief because after Endgame, she went to Westview and accidentally made this hexagon out of her grief because of all the terrible things that had happened in her life. Especially since this happened right after Vision is killed. But she kind of went along with it because it was making her happy. Though in doing so, she also kind of made the world that because she accidentally made everyone kind of a prisoner of the town because they act the way they would in her head, but the people there are actually kind of trapped inside their own bodies, and occasionally they'll come out and kind of freak out because they've seen everything that's going on and they're scared, but there's not really anything they can do about it because they're kind of trapped in this way that Wanda kind of makes in them. And so yeah, it was kind of cool, but also kind of sad to see all that. So whether or not you can actually say Wanda is kind of doing something terrible here, it's kind of up to you, I suppose you could say. But either way, you can kind of tell that you kind of sympathize with her in that way because she's after going through so much through so many things in her life, and she's kind of scared to try to let go of anything like this again. But I like the other thing too. Like we find out why everything Wanda created was like a sitcom as well. It's because when she was a kid, she liked to watch sitcoms with her family. And all other moments like that in the episode help make the episode and just help explain more and more about her. And we learn that Agatha uses this book of magic with her spells, and apparently she came from a family of witches herself. And we get some really cool scenes like that, like in episode 8 where they both see their past and just different things like that. And really, I think this all helped with the last episode being really cool. Like I said, some people thought it was a disappointment, but I kind of did a bit as well, but I do like it. It was cool to see Wanda and Agatha fighting, and especially seeing Vision fighting with this white Vision that Sword created out of the body of the original Vision. And I like how he was able to convince him and convince him about who he is, and then he just kind of flies away somewhere. I assume that means he's gonna go back to normal and be the real Vision again in season 2. But the ending with Wanda and Agatha was really cool. Especially when Agatha actually called her Scarlet Witch, and she actually get her comic accurate Scarlet Witch costume. I just thought she and Wanda with that was really cool. And by the end, I assume Wanda just kind of made Agatha a prisoner of her sitcom counterpart. Like she just didn't stay that way, the way that she was acting in the show forever now or something. Also, speaking of Agatha, I thought she was an okay villain. The only problem I had with her is that she kind of she was kind of cartoonish sometimes, and her dialogue was kind of cheesy sometimes, and just well, the writing for her character felt a little too cheesy and silly sometimes. But overall, I thought she was a pretty cool villain at point. Not one of the better MCU villains, but she was still an entertaining one. And then the very end, and then at the end, we see Wanda pushing down the hexagon and having to say goodbye to her children and Vision and everything. Like pretty sad, although it didn't really hit me all that much, mainly because I personally haven't really ever been the biggest fan of the two in the MCU, but it still worked as a good ending, and I like seeing Wanda talking to Monica before she left. It was also kind of funny when we see that Quicksilver was revealed to be just some random guy who Agatha just kind of brainwashed to be like Pietro. It was kind of annoying because I too would have liked to have seen him again later on, but you. And now let's talk about the ending. I love the part where Monica was talking to that role was really cool, and it was, and when she mentioned how a friend of Mariah's wanted to speak to her, I assumed she meant Nick Fury, just because when she pointed to the sky, I assumed she was talking about like that spacecraft thing that we saw Fury in at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. And so if that is what they're talking about, then that is a really cool idea. I like seeing the idea of having Fury and Monica reunite again after all these years. And it's just a cool idea just to see that her and Nick will probably be teaming up. And it was also just cool to see Ro and Michelle as well, and just talking to Monica as well. And then finally, the last end credit scene, we get to see Wanda in the old cabin place, and we also see what looks like her astral form reading the book that Agatha had, and is trying to practice her magic more and get better control over it. But then she's beginning to hear the voices of her kids in her head. I'm not gonna lie, when Wanda flew off, I honestly assumed that she was going off to see Dr. Strange because just to try to learn how to control her magic better, especially since Agatha just mentioned the Sorcerer Supreme, so I thought that was what she was going to do. And all that got me curious to know what this all meant and what was gonna happen next. And overall, yeah, I really enjoyed this series. I didn't love everything about it, and not everything turned out at the end. Not everything turned out in the end, but it's still really well made. I especially have to give credit to the fact that they made every episode feel like it really could play in the decade. I don't know what they did to do them like this, but it's really impressive, and the actors all so fantastic, especially Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, who are really charismatic and likable in these roles. Again, and the appearances from the other cast members from the other Marvel movies is really cool too. But again, what I like the most about this show is the whole mystery aspect to it, and how every episode just made me more and more curious all the way to find out what was going to happen next. And really, this show was just pure entertainment all the way through. I personally didn't love everything, and some things weren't very entertaining for me personally, but it totally made up for it by having really amazing aspects throughout the show. And so yeah, I highly recommend checking this show out, especially if you're an MCU fan, and if you have a Disney Plus account, then you should really check it out. And so, yeah, I went back to my review of WandaVision Season 1. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all like it. If you did like this video, please like this video. Please comment down below to tell me what you think. Please follow me on Twitter at Daniel Maloney, Asian Disney fan, where I do Kingdom Hearts and Disney quiz every day. And please subscribe for more content like this coming soon. I'll see you on next time. Take care. I see it.